stuff up. What's happening?
My camera was trying to keep me off. It's ridiculous.
Sammy, welcome back. How was your vacation? Where were you?
It was a good time. I was out in Los Angeles over the weekend. Went out in Hollywood with a couple of my buddies, and then we went out to Palm Springs. It was good, and just kind of chilled out there. It was hot, but chilled by the pool, and it was nice and relaxing.
I think it's like record hot in Palm Springs right now.
It got hotter as we left. It was literally, it was like 109, 110, and then I think it got to like 115, 116 today. So,
and it's hot today in San Diego. So good luck, everybody. I haven't been outside of a studio since I don't know, like 5:30 a.m. this morning.
You were at the Creed show last night,
dude. I was the Creed show last night. That was awesome. I don't know if anybody was at it, but Big Rich, TD, and Fletch, our morning show over on KGB, we got to do the intro for Creed about 5 minutes before they got on stage.
Take me higher.
We went higher. I'll tell you what, that was one of the coolest little things I've ever gotten to do in my life. But jumping up on stage right before Creed, 20,000 people in attendance at North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. I don't think they had any idea who the hell we were. But every time we said anything, the cheer we got back was wild. Rich was saying it's like the most people cheering for him since he was in the NFL. So that was unbelievably cool.
Any publicity is good publicity.
I think so too, man. There is a reel up about it at 101 KGB on Instagram. You can find it there. But that was a unbelievably cool thing we got to do last night. Creed rocked the house. Mammoth, who Van Halen's son, Wolfgang, is the lead guitarist for Mammoth. We saw them perform. They brought the house down. Chris Daughtry was rocking, felt like American Idol, 4th place runner-up. He is the most successful person to come out of his season. I don't care if Taylor Hicks did have a Super Bowl commercial, but that was an unbelievably cool time. Scott Stapp is ripped, like really ripped. He was kind of intimidating. When I gave him a high five, I got a little nervous about it because he just looked so strong and vascular. It's like what Sammy wants to be.
Yeah, I would love to be Chris Daughtry.
It was awesome, man. That was a really, really fun night, but I am so tired. I got home around 11:30 last night, logged about, I don't know, 2.5 hours, 3 hours of sleep, and then got right back to work this morning, and I got 2 hours left before I'm hitting that couch and taking that hard afternoon nap. Did you get to watch the Padres game last night?
I did get to watch. I watched the Padres game most nights, actually. It was on in where we were at. So pretty crazy week since the deadline.
Yeah, it's the new Padres are carrying their weight. It's been fun to watch. Now, JP Sears had a bit of a disaster, but they already got him back in AAA. I thought Nestor Cortez last night showed that he's going to be serviceable at the very least. Gave up that home run early to Corbin Carroll, but, he bounced back. He carried some innings. And Nestor Cortez, they're going to need him to produce the rest of the way. If we're going like positives of last night, O'Hearn getting his first homer, that's huge.
That was big.
Because the playing time has been staggered. I wish we'd seen him more in the lineup, but I guess his numbers against lefties have been god-awful. Numbers against righties, he's spot on, but you're going to face a lot of lefties moving on. So Ryan O'Hearn getting in the lineup last night, getting that home run at a big moment, tying up the game, kind of giving the Padres some hope. That's huge. And the start that Laureano's had since he joined the Padres has been incredible. But O'Hearn this is his first moment to really step in the spotlight. That was big time. The clutch hitting from Jose Iglesias continues. It feels like he's got that gene. And as we get to the time where last year he really caught fire for the Mets, maybe we start seeing that with the San Diego Padres. He was a big part of their postseason run a year ago. Maybe he can be a big part of the Padres postseason run. But if we're going negatives, I mean, Mike Schultz was kind of trying to give that game away a couple times. It felt like the double steal. I hate it.
That was ridiculous.
It works in Little League. It's a Little League high school play. Once you get to college, I feel like the double steal just needs to go away. And I think the Padres pulled it off maybe a week and a half ago. I can't remember what game that was in.
Yeah, I forgot which one.
But what are we doing? Like, are we really trying to pull trick plays? These are big leaguers. It's not going to work. And especially when Luis Ariz, one of the best contact hitters in all of baseball, is at the plate, you're going to try to pull a double steal with 2 outs. I thought that was just cheapo. And that's and Manny Machado, non-competitive ABs. What are we doing, dude?
That was pretty rough. Yeah, so it's been
2
weird.
Strikeouts in big moments with runners in scoring position.
It's been weird over the last, since the deadline, over the weekend, and then I obviously wasn't here the last couple of days. But so going 3-3, you gained a game on the Dodgers. So you're 2 games back there. It was weird. It felt like the Cardinals series they dominated outside of being really sloppy on Saturday. Saturday, it felt like they just kind of lost track of that game after they got up 4-0, and then they just got away from them. In this Arizona series, dropping that first one, I give the Padres a lot of credit for, O'Hearn hitting his first home run as a Padre, fighting back in these games. That's what they need to do. So I'm giving them credit in that regard, and it is exciting seeing Cortez, especially after giving up 2 early runs, being able to kind of fight through and give the bullpen a little bit of love. Now, the Padres offense needs to wake up early, because it's one thing to play against the Diamondbacks, who have the 26th or 27th ranked bullpen, and then traded away pieces at the deadline to come back on. And that's great. Again, that's what you have to do. They made up ground against the Dodgers, so it's all kind of positive vibes for the Padres. But I do think we got to see. It felt like over the last week, it was the Padres relying a lot on the fact that the bullpen is so stacked now. It's like, we can just get this later on in the game, and giving up these constant early leads could come back to bite the Padres. That's why I'm really excited to see them against Boston, one of the hottest teams in baseball, a stacked team, and the Padres are right there with them. So it's really fun, but overall, very good last 6 days.
Get to the big three in just a minute. We did get a text from the 619. Sammy, Fletch snuck in a 10-minute interview with Mark Willard yesterday about the 49ers, and it was as sickening as you could imagine.
619.
We didn't only talk about the 49ers. We talked about the Rams. We talked about the Giants.
619. I did hear a little bit of that. And
it was a lot of Niners talk.
I love me some Willard, but I mean, we
also talked smack about Steve Hartman, so it wasn't a total waste of time.
619. I'm back. Okay, trust me. So I can check the Niner ego when it gets out of hand. I
better believe Seren Petro is coming on next week, and we're gonna do 10 minutes of Chiefs talk, I'm sure. Sammy's going to be like, oh my God, Seren, you're my childhood hero.
We're going to get Petros on. We're going to get all the big boys come on talk NFL, because it is NFL preseason tonight.
27 days away from the start of the regular season.
Oh.
I think I have that right. Might be 26. We'll see where I'm at on my counter, but let's get to the big three. Sammy, I've been doing this. Marshall's been doing this. Big three's been a little different since you've been away.
Love hearing me some Marshall, by the way.
I think it's been great personally, but let's get to the big three the right way. Sammy, smash that button.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? Coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big Three.
Jump on the stream. Couple ways for you to do it: on X at Fletch and Sammy, on YouTube at San Diego Sports 760. There's been issues with the internet in this building. The stream has been sporadic. One day it wasn't even there, but the stream is back. Internet is fixed here, so we are good to go. Find us online. And Sammy, Mike Usher ran the board on Tuesday this week while you've been out, and he did a great job. Mike Usher cracked the mic exactly one time during that show. And
Can I guess what it was?
Yeah, go for it.
Was it something to do with SCFC?
No, it was actually right now at this exact moment in the show on Tuesday. He was offended that I didn't tell him to smash the button, and I told him to press the button, because I always tell you to smash the button.
Shout out to Mike Usher for listening to the show every day.
That's what I said. I was like, oh, Mike, you just confirmed that you're a listener. That's kind of adorable. Sammy, where are we starting hour one?
Okay, we have so many stories, actually. So we might do, we got Big Three coming up hour two as well. So we got a lot there. Let's start, though. A little college football and NFL. Arch Manning, the projected number one pick of next year's draft class, obviously related to Eli and Peyton Manning. Number one team in the country, Texas, opening against Ohio State a couple weeks. But Archie Manning, ahead of the season opener, says that Arch Manning will not be coming out next year, no matter what happens. He will be playing next year at Texas, and there's been a lot of tank for Arch. There's been a lot of
Arch Madness.
Arch Madness, exactly. A, do we believe this? 2, do we think it's good for Arch? And 3, what NFL team has to be the most bummed right now?
All right, let's clear a couple things up here. Archie Manning is Papa Archie, the grandpa, the patriarch, the dad of Eli, Peyton, and Cooper. Arch Manning is the kid who's currently in college at Texas, the number one team in the country heading into week 1 of college football. So Archie Manning, Grandpa Manning, said Arch grandson is going to be staying in college through the 2027 season, or that's when he'll come out for the NFL draft. Why the hell is Grandpa talking for grandson? That's what I don't get. And now we know that Archie Manning's got a lot of control when it comes to the Manning family. We've known that for years. That's why Eli Manning was not a Charger. But why is Grandpa speaking for grandson right now is the part that's confusing me. And you ask which NFL teams does this screw the most? I would say Arch Manning gets screwed the most in this. Why would he not be coming out if he is going to be the number one overall draft pick?
Definitely. Well, I'm so curious to watch Arch this year, because he's been labeled as the next Trevor Lawrence, Andrew Luck, the guys that they're Joe Burrows, your can't miss prospects. I know he had the injury, but Joe Burrows can't miss prospect of the number one pick. But this guy has only played in a couple games. He played against a directional school when Quinn Ewers got hurt last year and tore it up, as he should. The talent's there. He got it in the playoff game against Arizona State, ran a couple read options, looked good. But, I mean, we're talking about a guy who, number one team in the country, because of his name, has all the publicity. He's a star, but he really hasn't played it. And the fact that Texas is already labeled as the number one team, they got to go into Ohio State week 1 to face the reigning champs. I know they look a lot different, but that's going to be a tough test. And it is odd, like Archie's saying this right before the season. Like, why don't you let the guy play? Let's see if he even lives up to the hype. Let's see if he's even number one pick worthy, because they're just deeming that based on his high school tape and all that kind of stuff. See what he is, and then open it up after this season. I don't know if I buy this. If they go win a title at Texas, he's coming out. But I don't know why Archie has so much influence over Peyton and Eli. We all know about the Eli situation with the Chargers and not wanting to go there. I mean, it's odd that I don't know. I guess the patriarch of the family just does all the talking, to your point, and Arch is quiet.
It's strange, and I'm very curious to see what this actually means long run, and if Archie actually has this much control. All right, we got a Cowboy story that we're actually going to save for coming up next, as well as news on Terry McLaurin, as well as news on Luka Doncic, because Sammy's been out since Luka Doncic news came down, and he's going to want to talk about it and want to talk about his body and how vascular Luka's looking and his new diets and how
very good.
LA is treating Luka Doncic so nice. So we'll get to all of that coming up in just a little bit. We also have some tickets to give away. They will be given away in hour number 1 today. Australian Pink Floyd on August 17th at Cal Coast Credit Union Open Air Amphitheater, one of the best places in San Diego to catch a show. All of that still to come here on San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. We all remember that one teacher who made a difference, who believed in us, who challenged us, or who just made learning fun. Now is your chance to say thank you in a big way with iHeartRadio's Thank a Teacher, powered by Donors Choose. Nominate an outstanding public school teacher who's gone above and beyond for their students to win $5,000 to stock their classroom with whatever they need. Today's teacher of the day is Ashley Cole, who teaches at Breeze Hill Elementary School in Vista. People told us Ashley is dedicated to her kids. She was a volunteer for 3 years and did her time as a substitute, and now she can finally support her students in her own class. Congratulations to Ashley. You are in the running to win $5,000 for your classroom. Nominate your favorite teacher today at iHeartRadio.com/teachers. Congratulations, Ashley. Hopefully you get that $5,000 and can stock up your classroom with whatever it is you need.
Ashley, shout out to you. I gotta apologize because I wasn't always the nicest to subs when you said substitute teachers.
I believe it.
It was always kind of a fun day, in terms of like, let's see how far we can push it.
What would you do?
One time I got detentions because this girl was making fun of me early in middle school, and I kicked the chair out from under her, and I got detentions because I did it when the sub was there. One time I had a sub try to write with permanent marker on the board, like there was like the green screen or whatever.
Of course.
And so we switched the marker. We did some bad stuff to subs, honestly.
Wait, you switched out the little expo pin for like a Sharpie?
We did some bad stuff. One time we got all the answers for the homework that she wouldn't. We figured out where they were, and then we were just copying the whole thing to finish the homework early. And then she came up to us, was like, "What are you doing?" We're like, "Oh no, she lets us do this. This is how we check our work." So we stole the answer. We're kind of little gremlins back
My
then.
buddy Trevor and I, if we knew there was going to be a sub the next day, we'd bring a football. And every time she would turn around, the football was getting launched across the classroom.
Hey, you know what? Staying active, keeping the mind sharp.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't think that's all that bad.
I don't think so either. It was one of those little Nerf balls, so there wasn't much sound when you caught it. So I would launch it. He sat on the opposite side of the room as me. This was 3rd grade. Mrs. Penders, I'm sorry. But we would launch it all the way across the room. Had a couple of scary moments though, because if Trevor launched it a little too high, I was gonna have to get up and Antonio Gates that thing one-handed.
I don't think that's that bad.
I don't think so either. It was all in good fun. It is San Diego Sports 760. We had the big 3 cut to a big 1 last time, so you want to keep it going, Sammy? What was next on your list?
Okay, so at least six teams, per ESPN are calling about Micah Parsons. We all know about the ongoing contract situation. Him and Jerry Jones have not spoken since the trade request was made, which is, I believe, last Friday, something like that. And I mean, is he getting who's more likely to get dealt between Micah Parsons, Terry McLaurin, who also per ESPN is him and the Commanders are $7 to $8 million per year off from each other.
Terry McLaurin is more likely to get traded, and I'll tell you why, because it's Washington. And I know there's a new ownership group in there, but it's Washington. It's not Dallas. Jerry, his entire legacy is kind of built around the fact that he drafts, develops, and signs players. Every single high-profile person he's ever had, he has draft, developed, and signed. And I don't see him letting Micah Parsons, who could potentially be like the last great that he drafts, to just walk out the door. I really don't see that coming. However, Terry McLaurin could absolutely get traded before the season begins if he's really putting up that much of a stink. Now, the Micah Parsons thing got more interesting today. I wonder if you saw this, Sammy. I thought it was AI when I first saw it, but after doing a little digging, like it's on CBS Sports, reports are from Aaron Donald that if Micah Parsons gets traded to the Rams, he would consider coming out of retirement and rejoining the Rams.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, it's on CBS Sports right now. Apparently, Aaron Donald said this on a podcast somewhere, but if the Rams trade for Micah Parsons, Aaron Donald, who still looks fantastic, by the way, is still keeping.
He's only 30 when he retired.
I know he still kept his same training regimen up. Teases that he would come out of retirement if Micah gets traded to the Rams.
That first off, I mean that would be lethal. I don't know.
I kind of want it to happen, but that defensive line, that's the best in football automatically.
Well, first off, if that happened, which I don't think it's going to, because if you're the Cowboys, you trade it to. You're one of the biggest media markets in Dallas. You're going to trade it to Los Angeles, who's also in your conference, who's going to absolutely, I think. Certainly, if that happened, they would be a favorite in the NFC. They'd probably be the favorite to win a Super Bowl.
Well, the Cowboys, as of right now, I don't even think are a playoff team. Without Micah Parsons, they definitely aren't.
Yeah, they're not even. The Cowboys are interesting because we could be undervaluing them a little bit in terms of the fact that Dak Prescott did get hurt last year. Trayvon Diggs was hurt last year. They did have a lot of injuries, and it's easy to bash.
Deron Bland missed a lot of time last year.
Deron Bland missed a lot of time. It's easy to bash the Cowboys because it's the Cowboys, and everyone knows I'm an obnoxious Cowboy fan. But
a lot of them are listening right now, Sammy. So it's nice of you to call our listeners obnoxious.
No. It's okay. They know they're obnoxious. The Cowboy fans know it, and they take pride in it. Okay. I've been called obnoxious. I'm a Laker fan. It's okay. But Micah, this whole situation though, if you're Jerry Jones, you know, one of those people, or you do something and you keep digging a hole and then you keep making the situation worse and worse. You could have paid Micah last year to what you just said about how he is a guy he drafted. This is something that Jerry Jones can point to and go, I was the 11th overall pick, and this guy fell to me. I took him despite everyone going, he's positionless. He played linebacker at Penn State. Is he really going to be a pass rusher in today's game? One of the best players, not the best player in the NFL. You could have paid him last year at $35 million a year. Now, rightfully so, because the market has reset and the salary cap has reset. He wants $43 to $45 million a year. So you're either going to pay that, which you've been holding out this whole time, and it's going to look like you just gave into him and you're paying three to four players all the money, or you're going to trade him and you're going to be the idiot that traded Micah Parsons. The Cowboys keep making the situation worse and worse. And as long as Jerry Jones is there, it's going to keep happening.
And I don't think you were here for it, Sammy, but earlier this week, Des Bryant had the tweet out where he was telling Jerry Jones essentially to keep his name out of his mouth. When Jerry Jones brought up the fact that Jay-Z and Des Bryant are the reasons he doesn't like dealing with sports agents anymore, which is a crazy thing to say. And Des Bryant essentially threatened to unveil some of the skeletons in Jerry's closet, and so we'll see where that goes. But Jerry, this is very un-Jerry-like. He's usually wanting all the headlines to be about how Jerry drafts, develops, signs. Des Bryant, CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott, Tony Romo. This is kind of what he does, and he holds on to guys arguably a little too long and overpays his guys. This Micah Parsons thing is very un-Jerry-like, and I'm curious to see how it finishes up. I hope Des Bryant does unveil some stuff.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
First off,
let's see the tapes.
Why are you going at Des Bryant, a guy who was loyal to you?
And Jay-Z. What did Jay-Z have to?
What did Jay-Z do to you?
It's his rock sports, whatever.
Rock Nation. It puts on a Super Bowl. Yeah. It's ridiculous. Jerry Jones. And also this says something about, you take a shot at your former player, Des Bryant, who was loyal there, one of the best receivers in the league in a time when the Cowboys weren't super relevant. They were okay. They were a decent team. They're a perennial playoff team, but they weren't a juggernaut or anything. What does this send a message to your players? You're not paying one of the best players in the entire NFL, Micah Parsons, the guy that if you paid $45 million a year, no one would blink an eye at, because you're like, well, yeah, he's that good. You threaten to not pay him. All the players on social media change their profile pics to him. Des Bryant's coming out, all this stuff. What does that say to your team if the best player, if not one of the best players in the NFL, you won't pay?
Not good. Hey, Chargers fans, this just coming down. Rashawn Slater left today's practice on a cart, which is big news for the Chargers. Hopefully he's okay. Not because he's a Charger, but just because he's a player in the NFL, and training camp injuries suck. So Rashawn Slater, who had an excellent year a year ago, he was an all-pro offensive tackle. This is big time for a Chargers team who took a lot of pride in their offensive line a year ago with Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater. And this is a big one. Hopefully he's okay. Sounds like he was blocking defensive line, outside linebacker Tuli Tuipulotu during a team drill, and then collapsed on the ground. Bad news.
I wasn't here when Keenan signed. What do you make of that?
I think it's awesome. They needed him. I think Keenan Allen still has a lot to give. It was kind of cool. I don't know if you saw this, but the Chargers put out like a 2-hour social media video the other day that was all 10,000 yards of Keenan's career. And it just shows you how good of a freaking route runner he is. And if he still has that, if he could be a dependable option for Justin Herbert, their offense got upgraded.
We can get into this more later, now, whenever, but I'm curious with the Chargers this year, because Herbert always seems to kind of be, it's funny watching his career. He was a guy that when he came on the scene and he was lighting it up, people were talking about like Mahomes up there. And then is Herbert going to be one of those guys? Is Herbert going to be a Lamar? Is he going to be a Josh Allen? Is he going to be a Joe Burrow type guy? And it's kind of the luster's fallen off the last few years. And I like Justin Herbert a lot. I think he's a really good quarterback. Being a Chiefs fan and seeing him twice a year, he always gives the Chiefs hell. So I have a lot of respect for Justin Herbert. But it does feel like at some point you blow the playoff lead against the Jags. You lose. I know he played well, but he loses the game against the Chargers. Remember where if they tied, they both would have gotten in.
The Raiders, yeah.
Or the Raiders, yeah, excuse me, the Raiders. And then last year, he stunk it up in the playoffs. He had 4 interceptions and played awful. It's like a lot of this was kind of blamed on Staley being a bad head coach. Then Harbaugh gets there. Last year, it's kind of you don't really have a receiver. You hit on Ladd McConkey, but that's about it. This year, like we talk about Josh Allen having pressure, other quarterbacks, Justin Herbert, there's really no excuses this year.
Yeah, I agree. And Jared Smith was on the show earlier this week, who's our betting guru over at Fox Sports Radio. And he said one of his favorites bet of the season is the under on the Chargers win total. And he credited that a lot. Justin Herbert not being dependable in big games. The Rashawn Slater news gets a little bit worse. So we know he had just signed that 4-year, $114 million extension. What was that? A week ago? A week and a half ago?
Yeah,
he just signed that. When he was being carted off the field, a bunch of players came up to him, slamming his fist on the cart and throwing his helmet away. Hopefully this isn't too serious, but that strikes me as something that's maybe a little more
That
serious.
sucks. I wonder if they move alt to left.
I don't know. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. The Chargers' offensive line was a strength going into this season, but that was if Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater were healthy.
That's a big blow because there's been a lot of debate about whether the Broncos or the Chargers are like who's really the kind of team that's going to pop. A lot of people think it's the Chargers. A lot of people think it's the Broncos. The Broncos feel like they're stacked in terms of the roster. I would probably take the Broncos roster over the Chargers. I do believe in Justin Herbert, not that over Bo Nix, not that I think Bo Nix is a bad player. I think Bo Nix is good, but they didn't beat good teams last year. The second year regression is a real thing, but that sucks, man, if Slater's out because that definitely hurts the Chargers.
Yeah, we'll keep you updated if anything comes down. I'll keep an eye on Adam Schefter's Twitter. I'll keep an eye on some of the Chargers reporters, but that is big news for early preseason. You hate to see someone go down with injury. Coming up next, your chance to win a pair of tickets to go to see Australian Pink Floyd August 17th at the Cal Coast Credit Union Open Air Theater. I know a couple people who have been to one of their shows. They said it was one of the most incredible, kind of visually stunning shows you'll ever see, and has a lot of the audio that Pink Floyd was known for. Tickets and info, Ticketmaster.com. But we'll give away those tickets coming up in the next segment. So stay right here. San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. Hey, it's Fletch for Gary Cooper over at Mountain Trust Mortgage and Realty. Call Gary today, 858-376-1299, or visit him online at mountaintrustmortgage.com, which is exactly what our buddy Marcos and PB did. He's a part of the show, texts the show all the time, and Marcos reached out to Gary Cooper with some big questions. Gary had the answers.
He sure did. He goes, how come you never talk about investment properties? So I said, just for you, I will. So yes, I have a full menu of those programs. You can go the traditional way with Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, put 20-25% down. That's where you're going to get your best pricing, but it is a full documented loan program. However, I also have a DSCR, which means debt servicing credit program. First-time investors, okay, no income, no employment verification, no tax returns, minimum credit score is 640. It is a little bit higher in rate, but if you can show that you are collecting enough rents to cover the debt of that property, the mortgage, the homeowner's insurance, and taxes, then yes, you can go under that program. I also have a P&L, or a verification of employment program. I have a bank statement program. So yes, I do have a wide spectrum of loan programs for your specific needs.
Call Gary Cooper today, 858-376-1299. Whether you got questions about the home buying process, mortgage lending, or selling a home, Gary Cooper is the man for you. 858-376-1299, or visit him online at mountaintrustmortgage.com.
This report is sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Padres back from Petco tomorrow, starting at 6:40. For a 3-game series against the Boston Red Sox, who bring in a record of 64-52, one of the hottest teams in baseball. Walker Buehler, former Dodger pitcher, will be going for the Boston Red Sox, while Nick Pivetta will be on the mound for the Padres. Padres currently sit 2 games back of the Dodgers in the NL West after going 2-1 over a 3-game series against the Diamondbacks, and the Dodgers going 1-2 in their last 3 games. Progressive Commercial Insurance flexes to fit your business needs. From quick repairs to adjustable coverages and even payment options, Progressive Commercial makes it easy to get what you need. Get a quote in as little as 8 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
San Diego Sports 760. It's the Fletch Zone. Ben Fletcher, Sammy along with you until 2 o'clock today. John and Jim will take over then. We are discussing some big time plans for this Aztecs football season. I'm getting pumped about it. August 28th, their first game. We are weeks away at this point from football being back in our lives at every second of the day. In fact, 27 days, 11 hours, 25 minutes, and 4 seconds away from the start of the NFL season. College football will get going like a week before that. Life is good, Sammy Long. However, with the start of training camps really getting going, preseason going, we got games tonight in the preseason. Who's playing tonight, Sammy? I know the Raiders.
The Raiders and Seahawks, the fun one at night. I believe the Bengals and Eagles are playing, and then someone else is. There is
an early game, but not really important. But with the start,
Ravens.
Yeah, with the start of the preseason, with the start of the injuries start happening like crazy. So CJ Gardner-Johnson, who was on the Lions last year, he just got carted off. He's a Texan now. That sucks. Rashawn Slater, who just signed a huge contract, offensive lineman for the Chargers, he just got carted off. That's brutal, and really puts a lot of the Chargers. You think about their win total, that might be worth a game on the season. For the Chargers. So it's brutal part of football, but football is almost back, and that's good news. You can almost smell it in the air. But let's talk some Padres right now. We got Coach Kentera coming up at 1:30 today. Kind of go a little more in depth on him, but I did want to take a moment to realize the position the Padres are in right now and how important this weekend is, because the Dodgers are 2 games up on the Padres right now in the division. This thing is absolutely without a doubt in reach, and the Padres currently have the arms in the starting rotation, and they currently have the bats in the lineup to do something about the division, which is not something you really could have said over the last few years. Last year, there was a moment where we thought it might happen, but it didn't. The moment we thought it was going to happen was right after the triple play. But this year, it is absolutely in reach. You got a couple months left of the regular season. Padres playing good ball right now. Dodgers still in sort of a weird spot. You can absolutely go after this thing. The problem is the Red Sox are coming to Petco Park this weekend. Red Sox have been on fire. They just swept the Houston Astros. I think they took 2 out of 3 against whoever they were just playing, the Royals, maybe. But as you look at them coming in this weekend, you realize how big of a weekend it is for the Padres. I would say there's almost more pressure on the Dodgers this weekend, who have the Blue Jays, and the Dodgers, who haven't been playing their best ball since what, 2 months ago now? 2 months? 3 months?
Yeah, it's been the Dodgers were weird because when they got up to like the 10-game lead in the division, they kind of started crapping the bed, and no one
can Mookie hit yet?
He actually got it back against the Cardinals early. He had like a 3-hit game a couple days ago, but yeah, the division's certainly in play. The Dodgers have been playing a little bit better since the All-Star break, but not great. They're taking a lot of 2 or 3 from series, and even against the Cardinals, it's like they scored 12 runs on Tuesday, and a lot of people in Los Angeles are really feeling like, oh, the offense is back, and then it's kind of a dud. Just the Dodgers are not really putting it together right now. They are going to get healthier, especially in the bullpen, but still, they've been saying that for a little while, and they haven't quite been living up to it. Padres have quietly been kind of creeping back into this thing, especially with the Diamondbacks and Giants dropping off. But this weekend's going to be very interesting because Red Sox, very good team playing the Padres. Toronto, who scored like 45 runs and 63 hits against the Rockies over the last 3 days. That's a real stat. They had 63 hits.
They had 20 runs yesterday, 10 runs the day before that, 15 runs the day before that. That is outrageous.
63 runs. So Toronto's no joke. So
that's not 63. What is that? 30 plus 15. That's 45.
63 hits. I mean,
45 runs.
Okay. Yeah. They had 63 hits.
That's crazy over 3 days.
That is a professional baseball team that did that too. So
by the way, the Rockies in those games scored 1, 4, and 1.
Oh my God, dude. I'm sorry.
What are the Rockies?
If you are a Rocky fan, like I'm sorry.
Bud Black got out of there just in time.
Yeah, you might be allowed to pick a different team. If your team gives up 63 hits over a 3-game series, like that's a low point. But yeah, this is a big weekend though, because Dodgers Padres next weekend. During the week, Dodgers have the Angels, I believe, and then the Padres got the Giants. So both teams should take advantage of. But over this weekend, yeah, this is a big stretch in heading in the Dodger Padres series, which obviously will be a big deal leading up to next week on this show and kind of everywhere in San Diego. So the Dodgers right now are 5-2 against the Padres. They're going to play them 6 more times over the span of the next 2 to 3 weeks. So if you're the Padres, you got to go what, 4-2 in those games?
I think so.
Or no, you have to go 5-1 to get a tiebreaker.
Yeah, between now and August 24th, you play 6 times.
Yeah, so you have to go 5-1 to get a tiebreaker. So this is where you really got to make up ground in the division, because I mean, maybe they pass out, maybe the Dodgers keep kind of flailing, but you got to think it's going to come down the wire between both teams. Dodgers and Padres are both very good ball clubs. You're certainly going to need to pick up some of these games here, and I'm curious to see. Kind of going back to what we said about the Diamondbacks. Diamondbacks, it was a big series win. 2 out of 3, you like that. Looking deeper into it, the starting pitching, Cortez got it together. You didn't like you saw from JP Sears. Darvish was all right. They're giving up a lot of runs early in these games, and the offense is coming alive late, which you'd love to see if they can hit under pressure. But doing that against the Red Sox versus the Diamondbacks, who have one of the worst bullpens in baseball, are 2 very different things. Now, I think they can certainly hit against the Red Sox, but the Red Sox are young. And I mean, they got Jarren Duran, who has been linked to the Padres forever, is tearing it up. Roman Anthony just signed an 8-year contract. I mean, this is a legit team that can hit just along with the Padres. I think the Padres have a pitching advantage, which is where I want to see them take advantage of it over the weekend.
And look, it's nice when you get Mason Miller last night, who comes out the night after giving up a tying home run. He comes out and is dominant last night. And really for Mason Miller, the key is if he has that slider working, he's not going to be hit. Like that's really the key for him. Because if you go 104 to a slider, no one's catching up to that. And no one is understanding that the difference between those 2 pitches. But Mason Miller comes out the day after giving up that 2-run shot to tie up the game, and he's awesome last night. Ryan O'Hearn, awesome last night, gets the home run. He just missed another home run, by the way, earlier in the game. So, like, it's great when the new Padres come in and are doing great things. How about the old Padres? Fernando Tatis Jr., he needed that day off yesterday. That was good. He was coming off an 0 for 6. He hasn't been himself lately. The swagger seems to have evaporated completely. Kevin Acee had that article yesterday where he was talking about how Fernando Tatis Jr. is doing things a little differently this year because he has to, because people are pitching him different. But he's also seems to have like lost his love for baseball, which isn't a good spot for him to be in. So he needed that day off. Hopefully he's getting mental, getting right the day before an off day to go up against the Red Sox and be Fernando Tatis Jr. But Manny Machado having two completely non-competitive at-bats last night with runners on base, that's just inexcusable. Like the Padres need to get the production, yes, from the new guys, and it's great that Laureano is on fire right now. It's great that O'Hearn looks to be earning his spot. It's great for everyone if your name's not Gavin Sheets, but like Manny Machado needs to do it too. Xander Bogaerts is doing it. Can we see it from Manny?
100%. And that's a real take. That's not even just being critical of the Stars. I mean,
no.
I believe it was Tuesday. I could be staying corrected on it, but there was a situation where the Padres had bases loaded. Fernando got walked, I believe, and they scored to tie it 3-3. I believe it was Tuesday, but it was a pretty bad call. If we're even mudding them on the broadcast, we're like, that was pretty rough. And then Arise flied out. So like some of the Stars, the top of the lineup, are not coming through. Again, to your point, it's nice to see the rest of the team really being playing well and doing that. But yeah, it is odd that it's like it feels like the team can never like fully put it together.
Yeah, we're reacting to one game. This was last night. It was like
Totally.
the trade deadline pieces come over and they won the game last night. If we're being completely honest, it was Nestor Cortez's start. It was Mason Miller's finish. And in the middle of it, it was Laureano getting hits. It was Xander Bogaerts had the homer, but it was O'Hearn. Like that's who won the game last night for the Padres. Manny Machado has been really, really good all year. Kenny gets a great for this last 2-month push, especially the second half of the month of August, where you're literally going Giants, Dodgers, Giants, Dodgers.
It's also going to be, I think, another thing that I'm curious to see with the Red Sox, especially when they up in competition. It's amazing having the bullpen that you have 5 arms that are legit arms. You cannot just like it feels like the team is a little bit in the small sample size. We're only seeing 6 games, so I'm not going to go some crazy outlandish take, but it feels like they're relying a little bit too much on that the bullpen is just going to save them.
It'd be nice if you only had to use 3 of those arms per game.
Exactly.
And you rotate who those arms are.
And the Diamondbacks got leads in every game in the series early on, which puts you having to use your high leverage arms. Even in the playoffs, it's great if it's a game 7 and you have a starter go 3-4 innings and you give it to them. That's fantastic. But to do that every day, Jason Adam, we've highlighted, has really been overused. Estrada's been used a lot. A lot of these guys have been used. If you could do 3, if you could do 2, something like that, and then when it's a must-win game, you go to that. But that can't be an every night thing, or they're going to be dead by the time the playoffs come around.
I believe Michael King is making his return coming up this weekend. I'll get confirmation on that, but I'm almost positive it's the first game of the series against the Red Sox. It'll be nice to see what he can do too. But is that another situation where Michael King's only going to go like 5 innings because he's on a pitch count, and you're going to have to rely on that bullpen? Good thing there's a day off today. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Coming up next, it's time for long shots. Sammy, don't worry. Your position is safe because all week long we've had losers.
My boy Tyler has been hitting me up with a lot of winners.
Look, Tyler was on fire, and so Tyler actually did long shots yesterday. He was our guy.
He did.
And he was 2 for 4. It was looking really good at the start. The first 2 players hit, and then at night it fell apart yesterday. Tyler feels really bad about it. Tyler, do not feel bad about it. We have not been able to shoot fish in a barrel all month long.
Tyler, don't feel bad, dude. Hey, it's always the setback for the comeback, baby.
I did tell Tyler if Sammy doesn't get a winner soon, he's going to be back on the hot seat for one of these coming up next week. But Sammy, making some money coming up next. San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. Hey, it's Fletch for Gary Cooper at Mountain Trust Mortgage and Realty. Give him a call today, 858-376-1299, or visit him online at mountaintrustmortgage.com. And in fact, our buddy Marcos in PB texts the show all the time, reached out to Gary just recently.
He sure did, and he had a question regarding investment properties and asked me, why don't you ever talk about investment property or financing for them? And I said, well, just for you, I will. So, Marcos, this is for you. Yes, I do investment properties. In fact, there's a variety of different loan programs for that. You have your traditional Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, where you can put 25% down. The 25% down will give you better pricing. But I also have what's called a DSCR program, Debt Servicing Credit Program. No ratios, first-time investors are okay. Gift funds are allowed, foreign national, no income, no employment, no tax returns. Minimum credit scores are 640, and you can go up to 80% loan to value. The trick to this one is debt servicing. So if you put enough money down that the rents received covers all of the debt servicing, the mortgage, the homeowner's insurance, HOAs, property taxes, and if it's equal or less, you can qualify under that program. Pricing's a little bit higher because, again, it's a debt servicing credit program. So, yes, the pricing will be a little bit higher, but no income documentation.
If you ever have any questions about mortgages, about home buying, about home selling, Gary Cooper is the man to talk to. Do what Marcos did. Call Gary Cooper today, 858-376-1299, or visit him online at mountaintrustmortgage.com. Make sure you let him know that Fletch sent you. AM radio keeps vital voices accessible. Congress can secure its future, but we need your help. Text AM to 52886 right now to support keeping AM radio in cars. Tell your member of Congress to pass legislation now and keep AM radio in cars. Standard message and data rates do apply. It is that time every day at 12:45. We do a little something called Long Shots, where Sammy Long attempts to make us some money using some daily fantasy sports platforms. Sammy Long, smash that button.
Let's see. Underdogs? Nah, that's old. Those with a less than good chance of winning? Too wordy. Wait, he's all big time now, huh? It's time for Sammy's Long Shots. Hold on. Can't talk until I say the important stuff. Long Shots is presented by Circa Million and Circa Survivor. Now, go.
Now, Sammy.
Well, that feels good.
We got our buddy Dave on YouTube here saying Alyssa Thomas more than 9 rebounds.
I'm with it. We want to throw that in there. Dave is picking Alyssa Thomas more than 9 rebounds.
She's done it in each of her last 5 games.
Dave, I'm not going to lie. It makes me a little nervous that she's done it every game she's played. But you know what? I trust Dave. I trust Dave's a WNBA expert.
She plays for Phoenix, the Mercury. She's gone 11, 15, 10, 10, and 12 in her last 5.
That's the kind of production we love to see.
Just a rebounding machine.
Oh, I just took my lineup away.
Eating them up like a buffet.
Okay, I'm doing this on the fly because my lineup just got taken away on PrizePicks.
Sure, excuses.
No, I got it already. Guess what? You know what? CJ, our imaging is the best. CJ cuts all our imaging, all the big sound you hear on the station. This is the guy, the hardest working man behind the scenes. He's going to get mad at me. Now, I've known this man since I lived in Palm Springs since I was a little kid.
Preseason football.
He told me in an email last week, he said, if you bet on preseason football, I'm calling your dad. That's what he said. Now, Pops, expect a call from CJ Newton.
Now, Jared Smith, who literally makes his living as a sports bettor, said preseason football is the only time you should be betting football if you're a beginner, because you can take advantage of it.
I like that. That's what we're starting with right now. So we got Dave, Alyssa Thomas over 9 rebounds. Oh, we got football tonight. Joe Burrow, less than 64.5 passing yards. You know why?
Actually doing preseason football.
Yeah, we are. There's 4 MLB games tonight. Yes, I'm actually doing preseason football. Please ride with me. There's some logic that goes behind this. Joe Burrow, less than 64.5 passing yards. Number one, they are not going to let him get out there and get hit. We see this a lot. A lot of coaches will be like, "Oh, I'm playing my starters." The Chiefs are notorious for this. They play their starters the first quarter. They play them one drive. They pull them. They let the other guys go. Joe Burrow, also a guy who's dealt with massive injuries on a team that the offense is going to completely have to carry everything because the defense is an abject disaster. Less than 64.5 passing yards.
I can already see it happening. First play of preseason 2025. Joe Burrow, 80-yard bomb to Jamar Chase.
I'm telling you, you bet unders on big-time players in the preseason.
How about Ashton Janty, 22.5 rushing yards?
Do you want to add that?
I kind of like it for more.
Okay.
Well, this is your thing. Sammy's long shot.
Seems like it's not.
No, it's your thing.
No, I thought about that. Okay. Joe Burrow, less than 64.5 pass yards. You know what? We're going to add Fletch in. Ashton Janty. I had another one, but Ashton Janty, more than 22.5 rushing yards. I think the Rook's going to get some play. I got to be honest, Fletch, it makes me a little nervous because I think they're going to play him so much this year that why would you burn him in the preseason? He's a running back.
Leave him out.
Huh?
Leave him out.
That's your call. If you want to go more than 22.5 on Ashton Janty, that's your fine. On the other side of this game, Bengals, Eagles, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, more than 40.5 passing yards. This is a guy at UCLA who was really a top passer, really a pretty fun quarterback, actually. Had some success at UCLA, really kind of had a lot of success against USC, and has in preseason games and in some sub spots for Jalen Hurts, been nice. He's a read option guy. This number is low, 40.5 passing yards, because he is extremely fast and like to get him out in the kind of play action, little read option game. But let's remember, Jalen Hurts not playing this game. They're going to leave him in here for an entire half. I think he's going to be able to get 41 passing yards. I think that is very manageable for a player of his caliber.
You know, looking at the slate tonight, there's some big names playing. Ashton Janty's playing. Brock Bowers is playing. Joe Burrow's playing.
Yeah, I'm telling you, you got to
go Anthony Richardson.
Less on Richardson scares me with the shoulder injury. Staying away from Richardson right now. Now
we're Shador Sanders getting the start for the Cleveland Browns.
He's going to be his number set at 120.5. All right, we're confusing our listeners because we have so many picks going.
Yeah, we do.
Paul Skeens, MOB pick tonight. Playing the Cincinnati Reds. Now, I mean, Paul Skeens is the whole team. This is literally the entire team by himself. He has lost the most amount of games with only giving up 2 earned runs or fewer. I mean, this guy's an absolute stud. Problem is he has no batting production coming from the other side. But I got a little bit tricky one today. His number is for pitcher strikeouts. It's set at 7.5. We're going to stay away from that. That's a pretty high number. The Reds are a sneaky lineup. Gavin Lux, Ellie De La Cruz. There's some talent there. I think that's a little bit high of a number. Less than 92.5 pitches thrown. Less than 92.5 pitches thrown. I'll tell you why. The last 2 games he hit the over. Colorado, he hit over. He hit 94. In Arizona, in a tight game last week, he hit 99. Before that, it was 86 in Detroit, 78 in Minnesota, 78 in Seattle. This guy is unbelievable. He gets out of innings so fast. But if you're thinking about the Pittsburgh Pirates from their point of view, this is not a playoff team. Why are you risking hurting your guy who is the only trade asset that you have in the potential offseason? I think we're going to go less than on Paul Skeens. They're baiting us to think over. He gets out of innings quick. Less than 92.5 pitches. So to recap, Paul Skeens, less than 92.5 pitches. We're going with Joe Burrow. Less than 64.5 passing yards because he will be pulled from this game. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, more than 40.5 passing yards for the Philadelphia Eagles. And Alyssa Thomas, from our guy Dave, our boy Dave, more than 9 rebounds for the Phoenix Mercury.
And Ashton Janty, more than 22.5 rushing yards for me and our buddy Tyler.
Okay.
You don't have to include that one.
Okay. I just want to make it clear. Fletch and Tyler want over 22.5 rushing yards for Ashton Janty. Dave wants Alyssa Thomas. Sammy's got the rest. So
look, Pete Carroll's a bad man. He's going to use Ashton Janty.
They got to use him all year. Why would you use a running back who you know?
He's going to touch the ball once, and he's going to get 25 yards on the first carry.
Amarian Hampton's going to be used a lot for the Chargers. He had 9 yards rushing, 2 attempts last week in the Hall of Fame game. I'm just telling you that's a little bit of a bait.
That was the Hall of Fame game. Doesn't count.
All right. Roll with me, people.
I would trust Sammy more than I would trust me on that. I just want to see Ashton Janty because I'm lined up to get him in Dynasty.
That's what Janty's going to be fantastic. That's my nervous with it, is that everyone wants to see Ashton Janty play tonight. PrizePicks knows this. PrizePicks knows you don't bet with your heart. You bet with what you know.
Too bad. Already did it. Already bet with my heart. It's San Diego Sports 760. Hour 2 is coming up next. Right now, we are giving away tickets if you want to go see the Australian Pink Floyd On August 17th at Cal Coast Credit Union Open Air Amphitheater. Call right now. Number 7, you're getting the tickets, 877-767-4760. Tickets and information at Ticketmaster.com. Caller number 7, you're going for free. Hour 2 next. Coach Kentera next. Stay tuned at San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
This report is sponsored by Allstate. Boston, San Diego tomorrow from Petco. That game will go on at 6:40. Walker Buehler will be on the mound for the Red Sox, who brings a record of 6-6 with a 5.74 ERA, and Nick Pivetta on the mound for the Pods, who is 11-3 with a 2.73 ERA. Rashawn Slater, starter tackle for the Chargers, was carted off today after injuring himself in practice. He signed a 4-year, $114 million extension last week. Some people just know you could save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Those people are probably saving a carload of cash right now. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
It's hour number 2 here on San Diego Sports 760. It is the Fletch Zone. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2. John and Jim will take over then. Coach Kentera coming up at 1:30, and we got the NFL coming up in about 27 days. Big time of year for everyone here at San Diego Sports 760. Padres got a win yesterday. Off day today. They will be back at it tomorrow. Nick Pivetta on the mound, taking on the Red Sox for 3 in a very critical series for the Padres, who find themselves just 2 games back of the Los Angeles Dodgers in the National League West. A big hour coming up here on San Diego Sports 760. We got Sammy Long back. He was on vacation. He was in 114-degree heat yesterday. Comes back to San Diego, and it's hot as hell here as well.
I got to be honest. Like, I've lived in a lot of places. I've lived in like Seattle and Phoenix, like a lot of places in Southern California. When you get on the plane back to San Diego, we weren't on a plane, but like you drive back to San Diego or get on a plane back, it feels like you're going on a vacation back home. Like, I've lived in Seattle, and this is no shot to Seattle. I actually like Seattle. It's a cool city. But when you get on a plane and you're visiting Los Angeles or San Diego and you go back and it's dumping rain and it's coming down sideways, you're like, vacation is definitely over. When you come to San Diego, you're like, it's better weather than it was here than where I was at.
Yeah, I mean, I say it's hot as hell. I think it's going to get to like 85 today. So that's not that bad. If I said that.
85. As someone who's lived in Palm Springs and Phoenix, Arizona, that is not bad.
Yeah, my folks up in Merced are dealing with like 104 on a daily basis. So 85 is pretty good. And we just go outside and complain about it. That's all we do here in San Diego because we're soft. We're so soft and spoiled. We're going to get to the big 3 of hour number 2 coming up in just a minute. But if you missed the news out of the NFL, kind of an impactful day. If you are still a Chargers fan, we get it and we're here for you. Rashawn Slater carted off the field with injury today. Derwin James, couple other Chargers, went up to the cart as he was getting carted off. He was slamming his fist on the cart, throwing his helmet. We have not gotten news yet what that injury was. But you talk about the offensive line for the Chargers, that was going to be a real strength for them heading into the year. If Rashawn Slater is not a part of that offensive line, all of a sudden that changes things in a big way. If you remember the Aztecs last year, offensive line was supposed to be stabilized by Joe Borjon. Within the first quarter, within the first couple of drives, Joe Borjon tears his ACL, is out for season. Offensive line was a big problem for them. So offensive line's a tricky spot. It's maybe the most important spot in the NFL. And if Rashawn Slater has to miss some serious time, that is a big damper on the Chargers' hopes this season. Because without him, I don't exactly know where their offensive line goes. Like Sammy was saying, do you move Joe Alt over to left tackle? It'd be questionable to say the least. So we'll see how that works out for them. Also, CJ Gardner-Johnson, if you're a Texans fan here in San Diego, he got carted off with injury as well today, which is the worst part about the preseason is we always get a couple of these. And then you hear what names are either still free agents who are out there looking for spots or what names could potentially be moved dealing with contract stuff. Could you imagine if the Chargers made a play for Micah Parsons?
Wow.
I mean, not that I
hope that
an
is not
offensive
happening.
line, but could you imagine if the Chargers, it's an AFC team, like if they're dealing with injury early, trying to make some bolster to the defense at the very least?
You got me thinking about camp. Did you happen to watch the Hard Knocks with the Bills?
No, I still haven't. So the first night, I forgot it was on. I was watching the Padres game. And then last night I was at the Creed concert, so I didn't really watch anything. I had to watch the Padres game this morning. So no, I haven't seen it yet. Was it good?
No. I really want you to watch it because I'm there's a lot there. And Hard Knocks has went from we go to bad teams, which was fun back in the day, and you kind of watch the dumpster fire and it's like drama.
Now you hate the Buffalo Bills, so are you watching it through a lens of hating the team already?
No, but this is why I don't like Hard Knocks. And 70470, start your message with team. Please text in if you watched it, if you liked it. Again, 70470, start your message with team. It used to be they followed like guys trying to make the roster, and it was like a legit piece. Like HBO didn't pull any punches when they did it. It was very like they showed the fights in camp. They showed coaches getting pissed at each other. Like in this one, they didn't even mention the James Cook contract situation once. Not one time. That's like the biggest story out of Bills camps. And the star running back is not there. They didn't mention it once. It's like them falling around Josh Allen, Deion Dawkins, all these guys. It's like who are going to make the team.
Does Haley Steinfeld make an appearance?
No, just like you see them at the ESPYs. But I have one thing I got to say though. Deion Dawkins did this thing. He was literally drifting. I'm not kidding you. He halfway through the thing, he went to like a drift track, like Tokyo Drift, like Fast and Furious, and was drifting in a circle for an hour. And I'm just saying, Rashee Rice.
Oh, come on. Get out of here.
We're advertising on HBO. And
he was doing it legally at a track where you pay to do something like this. Rashee Rice, look, stuff was found in his car. We don't know what his mental state was, but one could assume that he was under the influence of something. Caused a 7-car pileup.
We don't need
Sammy,
to assume anything.
A 7-car pileup on a huge freeway out in Texas, and he fled the crime scene. He walked away from it.
He said he was sorry.
I
mean,
don't care. You're just a Bills hater. I bet you this episode was awesome, and Sammy's just a biased viewer. It's like if someone talks their whole life, oh my God, I hate DC. I am all Marvel. And you go to the Superman movie with them and they hate it and you're surprised. Yeah, shut up.
I'm just saying he said he was sorry and they're advertising him doing a drag race. So
Big 3 hour number 2. Let's get it going. Sammy, we got tons of stories going around the sports world. No one wants to hear your just Bills propaganda that you're spewing out there. Let's hit that button and let's get to the big 3.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? Coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big 3.
Text line 619. Fletch being a Creed fan is so on brand. I freaking love Creed. And not only am I a Creed fan, I was on stage introducing Creed last night.
Did you get to talk to the band last night?
Yeah, dude. I've met Scott Stapp now. He's my boy. I think we might do brunch.
Why isn't he on the show today?
He's not that much my boy, but
I like Creed.
it was more like, hi, Scott.
That text is very 100%. You do look like a Creed fan.
I really enjoy Creed. 20,000 of my best friends do too. There was 20,000 people last night singing every word to One Last Breath.
If we're hand on a Bible and I said, Fletch, name your top 3 bands of all times, I would guess it'd be Creed, Nickelback, and give me something else.
You're wrong about those two. They're not in my
Vanilla
top 3
Ice.
all time. Vanilla Ice. I know one song from Vanilla Ice, and it's literally the reason I know it is because his name is in it. It's Ice Ice Baby.
That's a beautiful text.
That is a good text. Thank you for listening, 619. I appreciate it. It is on brand, and I'll wear that as a badge of honor. What's our big 3?
Let's start with the Browns because the Browns always give us material. I mean, you could just do a show on the Browns, and there's always something come out of Cleveland. Shedeur Sanders. This broke earlier this week, but I wasn't on air for it. I didn't get to hear Fletch's take on it. Shedeur Sanders is starting for the Cleveland Browns in the preseason. This is after they have a bunch of quarterbacks. Joe Flacco. They just signed Snoop Huntley for their 5th quarterback on the roster.
Shedeur is also listed 4th on their depth chart.
He's starting the game. Kenny Pickett's hurt right now, and they have a couple. Dylan Gabriel as well as quarterback. He is starting the game tomorrow, but has taken 1 rep as a first-team starter in camp. 1 rep with the ones, but he's going to start tomorrow in their first preseason game.
He also has by far the best numbers of any of the Browns quarterback. Now it's training camp, so who knows what these numbers are? Who knows what defense he's playing against? But Shedeur Sanders, I'm excited to watch him, and I really can't wait for it. And he has a real opportunity here to kind of take control of this. Now, the Cleveland Browns will screw this up. I promise you that much. They already have screwed it up. But if you want to give Shedeur Sanders the best opportunity, and if Shedeur Sanders wants to take that opportunity, be undeniable in preseason. Get everybody talking about you in preseason. I'm glad they're running him out there.
Do you think this is a sabotage, though, with the fact that a lot of people are kind of theorizing online that they're not letting him run with the ones? They're going to throw him out there and see if he sucks, and they're going to go.
The Cleveland Browns suck. I hate this organization. And look, they have made me a Shedeur Sanders fan because coming out of college, when we were getting into the draft, I was not a fan of Shedeur Sanders. I'm much more a fan now, and I want him to succeed, and I want him to be undeniable for the Cleveland Browns. I don't know if this is sabotage.
I don't think it's okay. Because that was like a thing. I was just in a column. People like genuinely think they're trying to sabotage.
People think it's sabotage. People think they're already tanking for Arch Manning. I think this is all dumb. Why would they tank now? They actually have a team. They have Myles Garrett on their team. They drafted 2 quarterbacks. They're not tanking right now to get the number 1 overall pick.
This is. I don't think it's sabotage. I agree with you. Now, I think this is. I don't think it's sabotage, but I do think there's a little bit of like, it's your show. Like we'll throw you out there. And this is, I actually think this is a smart thing from the Browns. If I'm the Browns, I am starting Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders. There is nothing I'm getting from Joe Flacco. And don't disrespect Joe Flacco, Super Bowl champion. The guy will go down as a very solid quarterback to a good quarterback during his career. Being 39 years old, turning 40.
You say Joe Flacco? Dude's a Super Bowl winner.
As I said he's a very good quarterback, a very good career.
That makes him elite.
He wants, I don't know if we go Joe Flacco, that defense won that Super Bowl. But, still, he won a Super Bowl. I think, though, if you're the Browns, right, see what you have in Shedeur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel. I think the biggest problem here, though, is either in the Browns organization, you're either not trusting the scouting department or you're not trusting the head coaching staff or the owner. Because what happened here? They obviously took Dylan Gabriel ahead of Shedeur Sanders. They could have had Shedeur Sanders. They took Dylan Gabriel. They got him 2 rounds later. So it's weird that you're now starting Shedeur Sanders over Dylan Gabriel in a preseason game. And I think that Shedeur Sanders obviously has more talent, I think, than Dylan Gabriel. I think he will end up being the starter. But see what you have from both of those guys, because Joe Flacco doesn't do anything for you. I think Kenny Pickett's probably, we've seen enough of him. He had ample opportunity in Pittsburgh, never came through. Snoop Huntley is not a starting quarterback in this league. See what you have. But it's just the dysfunction of the Cleveland Browns to draft Dylan Gabriel ahead of Shedeur Sanders, then start Shedeur Sanders over him. And honestly, to your point, like, I kind of root for Shedeur in the sense of they have done every ability to kind of trash Shedeur in the media without directly trashing him. In terms of the Cleveland Browns, it's just it's Cleveland Browns messing things up once again.
And by the way, he gets up to the mic earlier this week and says, "Yeah, I told my dad to stay away from training camp. I don't want him here.
That's a mature thing.
I don't want any distractions here." Now, that could have been a PR person telling him to say that, but either way, it's the right move. And I would imagine if Dion wanted to be there, he'd be there. This could be Dion telling Shedeur, "No, you need to get out there and say, I don't want my dad anywhere near this because it's my first year. I don't want any distractions." That could have come from Dion.
Definitely. I can see it.
I love that Shedeur Sanders got up there and said it, and I love that he's sticking with it. And it sounds like he's putting in the work. And from what I've heard, did you read Mary Kay Cabot's article on him? He's the best looking quarterback in camp
by far. If you looked at the talent as a draft class and said, where does he rank behind Cam Ward, maybe Jackson Dart, you could argue in terms of talent. It 100%. I mean, obviously,
maybe Mel Kiper was right.
Mel was right. In terms of talent, what we saw in college, he did not deserve to go there.
But he could be talented, and he could also be a douchebag. And that's essentially what they were saying. During the pre-draft process, what teams were saying without saying was that Shedeur Sanders was a douchebag when he came to all these meetings.
If you gonna blow off all these interactions, gonna be a jerk in the lead up, not take teams meetings, they're interested in meeting you, then this is what happens.
And it's on brand for the Cleveland Browns to draft him because they also drafted Johnny Manziel.
Right, and Shedeur's got to live with that. But he's got an opportunity in the preseason to try to get him and see if they can flip him for a pick.
All right, quick break here. Coach Kentera is coming up at 1:30. We're going to do all things Padres with the coach, how he thinks the new faces are fitting in. I know Coach is a huge fan of Freddie Fermin, and he was spot on with that, man. Freddie has made an impact right away, driving in a big RBI yesterday as well. So we'll get Coach's thoughts on all the new Padres and when we're going to see Michael King back. I believe it's this weekend. That is what Kevin Acee thought, at least on Tuesday. So we'll see what happens there. Coming up next, let's stick with the NFL a little more. We got preseason football on TV tonight. Do we expect to see anything big? And let's talk about some of the names that are actually going to be playing in week one, plus a quarterback who volunteered to play week one, but the team is holding him out anyways. Let's hear about it. San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. San Diego Sports 760. We got Coach Kentera coming up in 10 minutes from right now, talking some Padres with us. Right now, we're going to stick with the NFL. We're only 27 days away from the start of the NFL season. There are 3 serious quarterback battles that are going to play out over the next few weeks before we get to the actual season beginning. And that is the Colts, the Saints, and there's one more. The Browns, obviously. That is fascinating. And that's one of the parts of the preseason that I love the most is when you see like actual meaningful minutes being played on the preseason field. And we're going to find the first step to who is going to be the Browns starting quarterback tonight with Shedeur Sanders. We talked about it a lot, Sammy. And I think the reason it's meaningful because if Shedeur goes out there and is a stud, there's going to be serious pressure from one of the bigger fan bases in football, from the Cleveland Browns fan base, to get Shedeur meaningful playing time right away in the regular season. If he goes out there and is terrible, then guess what? NFL media is going to have themselves a field day talking about how right they were that Shedeur Sanders is a clown and that he didn't belong in the top 10 of the draft anyways, and that the Browns actually were the one team that actually fell for Shedeur Sanders hype. I'm so curious to see how he does tonight.
Well, and I believe they're playing tomorrow, but they certainly, there's a fun narrative in the storyline of the preseason because it's always fun seeing the rookies, fun seeing the guys. If you're a diehard fan of a team, seeing who's on the cut line, kind of, and what guys are gonna make it and whatnot. But the Shedeur angle of people are going to really judge these games. I mean, his over under on Prize Picks, if betting tells you anything, is set at 120.5 pass yards. That means that they think he's gonna play a while. And if you're the Browns, I would let him and Gabriel run for a lot of the time. It's certainly that's the quarterback battle that everyone's looking at, because if you look at the talent, like we were talking about last segment, compared to where he was drafted, it's not even close. I'm curious about the Browns. I'm curious about the Colts. Colts kind of go under the radar.
Danny Dimes
playing tonight. Anthony Richardson playing tonight. Anthony Richardson was the guy that everyone's like, he was supposed to be the Jaden Daniels of last year. Anthony Richardson was supposed to be the dude that we were like, this is the guy we saw at Florida. He's the prototype. He's tall. He's got a cannon. He can run. I mean, this is what it was. And now, Daniel Jones is in there. Like,
not to mention Riley Reed is in that, or Riley Leonard. What's his name?
Riley Leonard.
Yeah. Riley Leonard. Riley Reed does something very, very different.
What were you watching last night?
Riley Leonard is also in the Colts quarterback room, and he was a high prospect coming out of college too. So I think we got 3 really interesting ones around the NFL. The Saints one is also fascinating. Tyler Shucks, is he going to be an NFL quarterback this year? Spencer Rattler, Jake Hayner. I mean, you got 3 QB battles on 3 bad teams, but that's what the NFL does. 3 teams that we probably shouldn't care about, we all really care about.
Well, and then throwing the wrench in it is the fact that we got into earlier, Archie Manning, his grandpa, who was supposed to be the number 1 overall pick. Archie Manning is supposed to be the number 1 overall pick. Archie Manning says I keep thinking about that comment.
That was crazy, dude. We can just roll over it, or we can stick with it a little bit. Everyone knows who it is. Everyone knows what it is.
I saw your face. I was trying not to laugh. Okay. Arch Manning, they're saying, is going to stay next year in college and it won't come out. He dropped to the 5th best odds to go number 1 overall next year. It's looking like it's going to be Drew Aller from Penn State. How does that change how teams play quarterbacks? Do you play the young guys to see if you have something there, or do you go with the vets now because maybe it's not as worth it to just tank and try to get the number 1 overall pick as it was if Arch Manning really isn't coming out next year?
All right, and then this other storyline, the quarterback that everyone has their eyes on this year, the oldest quarterback in football, Aaron Rodgers. Look, we talked to Jim Wexell yesterday, and Jim Wexell has covered the Steelers forever. Been there for decades. Was from the end of or the beginning of Mike Tomlin's career to now. He's been there the entire time. And from what I've gathered over talking to Jim Wexell over the last few years, he's not going to BS you. He's going to tell it exactly how it is. And he'll tell you when someone deserves to be fired. He's had talks about Mike Tomlin, and he talks about the fan base and why they want him fired and why he thinks it's ridiculous. And Jim Wexell said he wanted to not like Aaron Rodgers when he first got into Pittsburgh. And he also said that since he's been there, everything has run so smoothly this offseason that Aaron Rodgers has been the perfect leader, that he's been throwing darts out there. He actually looks more athletic than he thought he would at this point in his career. And that Aaron Rodgers has been the perfect quarterback to come in and kind of stabilize the ship after last year's kind of question marks around both Russell Wilson and about Justin Fields. And so Aaron Rodgers, apparently, at least according to a guy who's been covering the team forever, is now giving them the best shot to get into the postseason and make some noise that they've had over the last 10 years. I'm curious to see what Aaron Rodgers is this year. Aaron Rodgers also reportedly wanted to be in the first preseason game with the Steelers this year. He wanted to hit the ground running. Steelers holding them out. I think they're playing against the Seahawks. I think I have that right. But Aaron Rodgers, who has been a little bit of a joke, could it be like this is actually legit with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and Aaron Rodgers is going to have himself a little turning back the clock year?
What we were talking about during the break is like maybe the Jets did humble this guy because it was a lot like everyone kind of knew Aaron Rodgers was always kind of an ass in Green Bay, but it kind of played into it. People liked it. It was funny. He'd be yelling at his receiver.
But he was an ass who was also an MVP.
Who's also, right, winning MVPs. And that's a great point. It's when you're winning NFL MVPs and NBA MVPs and you're putting banners up in the rafters, you can say and do whatever the hell you want. Michael Jordan would berate teammates, but guess what? Michael Jordan was winning championships. When you flip that, and then the last year Green Bay does not go according to plan, then you go to the Jets, you get injured, and then you kind of have a disastrous last year. The team did not achieve expectations of what you thought they were going to be. I mean, you're hearing about ayahuasca. He's making claims about celebrity. I mean, like all kinds of stuff. And it's really kind of I used to like Aaron Rodgers. Really kind of, I don't like him anymore. It's just the way he's behaved has not, I think, been pretty pathetic. But then maybe he gets embarrassed by that.
Maybe he's humbled.
You go to the Jets, who's like they're walking on water. Like this guy, he's gracing us with his presence. We've never had a quarterback all the way back to Joe Namath that had this kind of stature. You go to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's won before. Mike Tomlin's not going to put up with this. Like Pittsburgh, there are guys on that team that have won playoff games and have played in big games in a tough AFC North. Maybe it changed him. It's an upgrade over whatever they had before, but the team will go as long as Aaron Rodgers goes because the roster is stacked. But can Aaron Rodgers turn back the clock? That remains to be seen.
Yeah, the other thing I found fascinating with Jim Wexell was Jalen Ramsey left the Miami Dolphins. He's now a Pittsburgh Steeler. And the fact that he said Jalen Ramsey is already in control of that defense. And it's like everybody is looking to him to set the tone of practices. And he is setting it in a very intense way. And it looks like he's turned back the clock a little bit too. So look, the Steelers are relying on some veterans. They got one of the most veteran head coaches. They have two of the most veteran players on their team leading the offense and the defense respectively. The Steelers could be an absolute problem. And that Fox Sports radio guy who had them at like 8th in the power rankings, maybe he wasn't too far off. So we'll see. Fascinating NFL season coming up without a doubt. And I also know Aaron Rodgers is a historian of football. So he loves the league and the history of it. So maybe going to the Jets, he was like, this is a little bit of a joke and I deserve to run this place. And maybe I can turn around their history. The Steelers have more history than just about anybody. So maybe he is taking it with some reverence and going in there a little bit humbled, like you said, Sammy. Coach Kentera is coming up next. Can't wait to talk some pods with the coach, get his thoughts on some of the new faces around the ballpark and get his thoughts on the Red Sox coming to town and the division that is getting a lot tighter. Coach Kentera next at San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
You know what's more fun than winning money by yourself? Winning money with your friends. As known in the show here, we believe in squad ride W's. This is why you got to check out Circus Survivor. It's $1,000 to enter, so grab 9 of your friends or family and go in $100 each. Or if you and your buddy are confident, split the grand yourself. You pick one team each week to win their matchup. Once you burn a team, you can't pick them again this season. Now I consider Fletch a personal friend of mine, but this is where we part ways. Because no, we are not picking the Niners to beat the Seahawks in week 1 and burn our Circa Survivor. With Circa Million, you have the ability to win $15 million. All you got to do is go 20-0 or outlast the competition. Everyone knows what happens when you try to plan a vacation with the friend group. Someone wants a high-priced dinner. Someone wants a helicopter ride, but let's just agree we all meet in the sports book. If you and your group are having trouble deciding on things and coming to a consensus on a weekly pick for Circa Survivor, it may not be right for you. Don't worry, Circa's got you covered with Circa Million, where you don't need friends to tell you what to pick. All you need to do is pick 5 teams against the spread each week, and you can win up to $6 million in guaranteed prizes. Winner gets $1 million, and get this, if you're the worst entry in the pool, you win the booby prize, which is $100,000 to the worst entry. Sign up in Nevada, play from anywhere, gives you an excuse to plan a summer Vegas trip, and provides season-long fun all throughout the NFL season. The best part about it is while you're signing up, you get to relax in the Circa Sportsbook with wall-to-wall TVs, outside in the pool with a cocktail in your hand, showing off that summer bod you've been working on for the last few months. Win your money now with Circa. This sport is sponsored by Allstate. Padres back tomorrow night from Petco at 6:40 against the Boston Red Sox. Walker Buehler will be on the mound for the Sox, while Nick Pivetta will be going for the Padres. And big news out of the NFL. Star left tackle Rashawn Slater, who just signed a 4-year, $114 million extension with the Los Angeles Chargers, has been carted off out of practice today. The severity of the injury is still unknown. Some people just know you can save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Those people are probably saving a carload of cash right now. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
San Diego Sports 760, Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock today. John and Jim will take over then. And like we do every single week, we chat with the coach, Kentera, every single Thursday at 1:30. Coach, how are you doing today? It's great to hear from you.
Fletch, doing very, very well. Coming off 2 out of 3 over there in Arizona. Nice little off day. And now the Padres got to gear up, man. They got some big ball games coming up here the next 2.5 weeks.
So let's start where every Padres fan's head is at right now, Coach, and that is when you see the number 2 in the games back column, when you're looking at the division in the National League West. Padres just 2 games back of the Dodgers right now. It feels like the division is absolutely in reach. What do you think the next couple weeks here of the Major League Baseball season? Obviously, 2 more series against the Dodgers. If you were to play a little predictor, how many games back are the Padres from the Dodgers, if any, after the next few weeks of baseball?
Yeah, hard to say right now, Fletch. So many things are going on with these different ball clubs. Obviously, the Dodgers have had their problems with pitching. Mookie Betts is having the worst season of his major league career. They just got Muncy back. They're trying to figure some things out, and I think the Padres have kind of figured out their offense. I'm not sure they've completely figured out their starting pitching, but they certainly have a lot of guys to choose from right now. And I think you got to take it one game at a time. I mean, this Boston team coming in, they're fighting tooth and nail right now for a playoff spot, and then you got to go up and take on the Giants for 3. You get a day to get a little bit of a breather, and then you got the Dodgers. Then you come home 4 more against the Giants here with no off day, and then the Dodgers are in for 3 that following weekend. So going to be very interesting. But, 3 weeks ago, I didn't think the Padres had a chance to win the division. They definitely have a chance right now. They've got a lot more momentum than the Dodgers have right now. I watched the Dodger game yesterday afternoon. They let a game slip away against the Cardinals. They got a little sloppy, an afternoon hot day up there at Dodger Stadium. They're just not performing at the level I think they expected to be at this point in time.
Coach, how do you think of Schilt kind of deploying the bullpen so far with the 5 big names? Do you think he's done a good job of that so far, or do you think he needs to kind of reel it back and not pitch him so much?
Well, I'd like to see him reel it back a little bit. Last night I think going to get Nestor Cortez when he did was probably a pretty good thing. I'll be honest with you, I thought Nestor Cortez after the first 5 hitters, I thought he threw pretty good ball last night. I know he hit a couple and he gave up that home run to Corbin Carroll, but overall, I thought Nestor looked like he was healthy. Looked like maybe a little bit of rust, but there's something there to work with. There's no doubt about it. And I think after that start last night, him and Ruben Niebla will go back to the lab and figure out some things, what worked, what didn't work. But I was very encouraged by the way Nestor Cortez threw last night. In fact, I went back and just kind of looked at some of his numbers, and they were pretty impressive after, like I mentioned, the first 7 hitters. First 7 hitters were 3 for 5 with a homer and 2 hit batsmen, and totally completely turned that around. The next 11 Arizona hitters went 0 for 9. They had a sac fly and a base on ball. So as the game went on, he got better. Padres at that point in time, they were having a hard time scoring runs. He ended up getting a no decision, but I was very encouraged by Nestor Cortez. I had no idea what to expect out of him. I didn't know if he was healthy, but watching him throw last night, we'll see how he felt today, and we'll find out from Mike Schilt tomorrow when the ball club gets home. But it looked like he was healthy.
Yeah, the Nestor Cortez thing, I think, was a sigh of relief for a lot of Padre fans. Everybody a little nervous after J.P. Sears really didn't look good with his first start with the Padres. And then with Nestor Cortez, just hasn't played that much ball this year. No one really knew what to get. And for him to go out yesterday and pitch the way he did, I think a lot of people in San Diego are feeling the same way you did, Coach. But let's talk a little Fernando Tatis Jr., who got the off day yesterday, followed by an off day today. Fernando Tatis Jr., who just hasn't quite looked himself. And there's been a lot of articles out about him taking more walks this year, him having a career high in walks already, and how he's having to play a little different because of people are starting to pitch him different and starting to figure him out a little bit. Fernando Tatis Jr. mentally, though, doesn't quite seem like the Fernando Tatis Jr. we've all gotten to know. What have you seen from his game, and is there room for him to turn it around this year?
There's always, as long as he's healthy, there's always room for him to turn it around. I talked about him yesterday on the podcast, and I said yesterday morning that it wouldn't surprise me if he got a night off, and he did get the entire night off. And you could tell he wasn't going to get into that game. He wasn't even wearing his jersey, which I thought was a little bit strange, to be honest with you. But nonetheless, you can be patient all you want, but as a hitter, you got to be aggressively passive, not passive aggressive. You got to get started on every pitch. And you know what? I'll be honest. I know he's a leadoff hitter. I know you want him on base. I know he can steal bases, but I don't think the Padres are necessarily paying Fernando Tatis like they were paying Juan Soto a few years back to take walks. They're paying him to do damage. He's got 4 home runs since June 1st. Okay. We got to get more production out of him power-wise. Maybe with the acquisitions of some of the guys that have come in the last couple of weeks, namely Ryan O'Hearn, maybe that's going to help. We obviously saw that last night in the 9th inning when the tied the ball game up. But, I read that article today. I read a lot of numbers, this and that, and 38 other things. Bottom line, every ballpark you play in America, the mound's 60 feet, 6 inches. There's a plate 17 inches wide. Figure it out. Let's go.
Coach, looking at kind of just projecting out for the playoff picture, Dodgers have been scuffling a little bit. Who do you see in the NL as the team that if the Padres are assuming is there, would you be like, I'd prefer them not play them?
I think the Phillies are a fantastic baseball team. I think when you look at Milwaukee, I've watched Milwaukee, and I saw Pat Murphy manage as an interim manager in San Diego. Quite frankly, he wasn't very good. He didn't command the clubhouse. It was kind of a weird, crazy thing when he took over. But I've seen this guy really grow Sammy, you know, he worked for a number of years under a guy that played for him at Notre Dame and Craig Counsell. He worked as a bench coach. He had the opportunity to go to the Cubs when Counsell got that record-setting contract for a manager, and he decided to stay and manage. Last year, he was the National League Manager of the Year. And I'll be honest with you, I watched that team, and they don't have a lot of big names. You know, Yelich is in and out of the lineup here and there. Jackson Churio's on the IL right now. I'll tell you right now, Pat Murphy may win the National League Manager of the Year for a second straight year because he's got that Milwaukee Brewer team right now playing at better than 60% in the win column. And, you know, the Cubs were kind of the flavor of the first couple of months, and they've bypassed the Cubs right now. See if the Cubs can get back in it. But Philadelphia, Milwaukee scares me. You know, I look at the Mets. I have no idea what to figure out with the Mets. One day they look good. The next day they look like a second division ball club. But the two most consistent teams for me right now are the Phillies and the Milwaukee Brewers.
At San Diego Sports Talk, you can find the coach there. If you've been missing his voice, he's putting up updates all the time. Coach Kentera, if you're looking at the trade deadline, Laureano has had the most immediate impact, but you were the first person I saw on social media saying, hey, Freddie Fermin, that was a huge get. I love the way Freddie Fermin plays baseball. It seems like he's making solid contact more often than not from the catcher position. He catches a hell of a game. You got to be impressed with especially those two guys with their first week as a Padre.
Well, I think both these guys, you know, when you see them play, and, you know, I've watched Freddie Fermin as much as I could, but when I saw him a few years ago, I mentioned this on the show last Thursday, I was so excited because I saw him play in San Diego, and I started asking a lot of questions about this guy. I was so enthralled by the way he caught. You know, he put the ball in play the night I saw him. I think he hit a double against the Padres the one night where he was in the starting lineup because, again, he's sitting behind a Hall of Famer for a few years there. In Sal Perez in Kansas City. But, you know, everybody made a big deal about Maldonado and Diaz and their relationship with the pitching staff and this and that. Well, I'll tell you what, Freddie Fermin's caught a lot of guys. He's caught a lot of good pitchers because he not only plays during the regular season, he also played a lot of winter ball. And so he's caught a variety of different guys. He's got a great baseball IQ. You loved it the other night. Well, he had another one last night, but how many times do you see a catcher lay down drag bunts for base hits? And it's not that he's a great runner. He's not, for a catcher, he runs pretty well, but, you know, he's off to a great start, both defensively and offensively. I know that one game he got called for catcher's interference, which I'm not going to lose a lot of sleep over that one, but, you know, he's off to a great start. I think he's got 16 at bats right now. He's 7 for 16, 438, on base percentage of 500. And I think doing a great job of working with the pitching staff.
Coach, I know you're such a massive baseball fan, so I'm kind of putting you on the spot here, but Boston coming to Petco this weekend. What do you think about that team? What should people be watching out for if they haven't watched a ton of Red Sox baseball?
Well, they got a lot of really good young players. I think, you know, unfortunately, a local boy, he's out right now, Marcelo Mayer, who's a talented guy from Eastlake High School. He's got a wrist problem, and they're trying to deal with that right now. But I think everybody read in the paper today about Roman Anthony, you know, the contract he signed. He's a rookie. He's only been in the big leagues for a few months. Very talented guy. We heard all prior to the trading deadline about Jaron Duran. You're going to see him. And, you know, I think, you know, tomorrow night, Walker Buell, the former Dodger, is going to pitch tomorrow night. And, you know, they've got a really nice balanced ball club. And Alex Cora is an outstanding manager. I know, you know, he obviously was very involved in that 2017 situation with Houston. But he's an outstanding manager, and Boston has really played pretty well. They're tough. And when you take a look at the Padres' record against the American League this year, not real good. So they've got to pick it up a little bit, and kind of anxious to see exactly what the Padres are going to do. I would imagine Pavetta's going to pitch. I was writing down some notes for the podcast tomorrow morning at 9:00. And as of last night, Padres hadn't named their starters. We do expect, unless there's some kind of setback, we're expecting Michael King to go either Saturday or Sunday, last I heard.
Yeah, that's the plan. Coach, hardly any Major League Baseball on TV today. Are you going to be watching any NFL preseason?
Yeah, I'll watch some preseason. I've got to go up. I'm going to watch my 10-year-old granddaughter kicked soccer balls this afternoon. Then I'm going to take her to a volleyball practice, and then I'm going to come home and watch some football. And I've been watching, there was only one baseball game on early. We got some other ones coming on a little bit later. But man, I got to be honest with you, man. Some of these Thursdays, baseball-wise, are kind of hurting the ball club. Not as many games on Thursdays anymore.
Hardly any. Yeah, the Sox and Mariners are playing right now, and then I think there's just 2 more games after that: Reds, Pirates, Marlins, Braves. So light day in Major League Baseball, but I wonder if they almost did that one on purpose because they knew NFL preseason.
Yeah, I don't know, but hey, I'll tell you one thing, guys, and I know you guys are going to be right in the middle of this thing. I'm really excited about Aztec football. I don't know how good they're going to be. I'm very optimistic. They've got to be better than they were a year ago, but I can't wait for that opener on that Thursday night against Stony Brook and get this thing rolling. Let's get Coach Lewis a few wins this year.
I'm looking forward to it too, Coach. I just did a podcast with some guys who do a podcast about the Group of Five, and doing my little deep dive as I was getting prepped for the Aztecs football season. They're going to be better. I can promise you that. They got some exciting pieces, some local pieces who are making their ways from big schools back to San Diego, where they went to high school. And it's going to be a fun year, man. I'm getting really excited for Aztecs football as well. That Thursday, August 28th is their first game against Stony Brook. We'll actually be broadcasting out in the parking lot at Snapdragon Stadium, getting ready for that one. Thank you for your time, Coach. San Diego Sports Talk is where you find them on YouTube. Appreciate you coming on every single week and sharing your knowledge with us.
Hey, talk to you guys again. Have a great week, boys.
Perfect. There he goes. Coach Kentera, one of the best to ever do it here in San Diego. One of the best to ever do it in the country, if we're being honest. Let's take a quick break. We'll wrap this thing up with some breaking news out of the world of HBO that has me nervous. That's coming up next. San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. Our buddy Demi Gunn on YouTube saying, Fletch, so fun to see you last night. It was great to see you and your son as well. That was a blast out at the Creed show. Fun concert, man. They put on a hell of a show. We got to introduce him, Big Rich, TD, and Fletch up on stage. If you want to see any video from that, Rich getting the crowd fired up at 101 KGB on Instagram. You can find it there. That was a blast and a half, dude. I don't think I've ever stood and talked into a microphone in front of that many people.
Did you get nervous for it?
No, I got little butterflies, but more excitement. I don't know about nerves, but I had one line to say and I delivered it flawlessly. Sammy, you'd be proud of me.
I know that's tight getting to stand up on stage. Rock stars are built different, man. It's just like,
well, those guys, they're jacked. Like I think of touring musicians, and I would think if I was in that spot, I'd be eating bad food every day. I wouldn't work out.
No, I would be the opposite. You're going on stage in front of thousands of people came to see you every night. I think it's your dude. Like I would not want to be like.
I think I'd go more the Morgan Wallen route. Just party every stop.
Well, you can. Well, this is the thing. Listen, kids, close your ears. Back in the day, there was a certain powder that kept people skinny. Okay, so no one's endorsing that whatsoever. But so you see some of these rock stars who are like these models in the 80s.
Are you saying Motley Crue did drugs? Are you serious, Sammy? Are you saying that Mick Jagger wasn't all natural?
He was all natural. The powder was all natural.
I'm sure it was. Hey, before we get out of here today, something alarming is happening in the world, and I don't like it.
Anchorman.
Nice one. Actually, I'm talking to David Keckner tomorrow. Champ Kind from Anchorman.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, he's at the American Comedy Club this week.
Yes, he is.
Oh, that might have to get tickets to that.
Maybe I'll do a little recording with David to play back on this show as well. You want to come in early tomorrow?
I'll come in early tomorrow.
I think he's coming on our show over there at like 9:00.
Oh, wow.
Is that too early for you?
Well, no, I have a thing with Sliwa in the morning. We'll figure it out. I'll talk to you on the
we'll
show.
figure it out. But yeah, that's over on KGB tomorrow morning if you want to listen to it. Champ Kind on the show. But I have a problem with HBO because they're starting to crack down on password sharing. So people like me who don't pay for HBO.
Whose password do you use?
It's someone from a family called Long. I don't know. I'm on Sammy's HBO. All right. I'm not ashamed to admit it. But is that going to go away? Because they're going to start cracking down on it next month. Am I going to have to start paying for my own HBO? Because that's ridiculous.
I'm getting so tired of this. First off,
what are you talking about?
No, not you, Sharon. I don't
logged into my TV.
No, it's fine. If I was watching Brock the dog, and I was watching The Sopranos while they were out on date night, and I forgot to exit out of it. I don't have a problem with that. That's fine. I'll be honest. I share your Padre password.
Yeah, that's fine.
So we do a little switcheroo there. But yeah, what is this nonsense? Like, first off, I used to watch every fight for free, okay, with certain links, which has now been gone.
Dude, Uncle Dana's putting a stop to that. He's throwing people in jail.
First off, everything's hypothetical that we just said there. If I were watching the fights, I would have been possibly using something to watch it on.
We've all done it.
Not
me, but yeah.
Well, certain people have done it. People do it. And then now they're cracking down HBO. Now they're cracking down Netflix sharing. It's like, guys, what are we doing here?
It's just let the free world be the free world. I thought we lived in America.
If you think about it, it actually sharing passwords means that more people are going to watch the shows. So that means that there's going to be more talking about the shows, which therefore means there's more content. There's more things going into it.
This is also what I'm worried about. And you weren't here yesterday, Sammy. So the news came down that ESPN and NFL are going through this huge merger. And now the NFL technically owns 10% of ESPN. And ESPN is getting the rights to Red Zone. They're going to try to do some sort of college football Red Zone something, or I don't know exactly what it is, which I'm actually kind of into a college football Red Zone. But I'm worried that everything getting conglomerated under the mouse is going to be a problem. Like Demigun on YouTube right now is saying, I ended up switching from the ESPN Plus Disney Hulu bundle to the Disney Hulu HBO bundle. Well, what does that mean? That means Disney's got ownership in everything.
Unbelievable.
The
Disney.
mouse is taking over, man.
By the way, we only have like a few seconds left, but did you see the Peacock Office spinoff thing?
Yeah, I hate it.
Okay,
Get the hell out of here.
It's stop messing with The Office.
No, it's so stupid.
It's not a spinoff. There's one character, Oscar, from the original. That
his line was actually pretty funny.
No, he's fan. I
like
love
the
Oscar.
documentary crew comes up to him. He's like, "No, I'm not doing this again. I'm gonna mess this up," and drops an F-bomb. That's funny.
Can we leave fantastic shows alone?
Honestly, the first one, The Office, was a reboot of the original one from the BBC. The original one sucked. Right. So The Office in America was great.
It's pretty funny.
Ricky Gervais is funny. That's about it. But obviously, The Office in America also did its own reboot after Steve Carell left. Like, that was no longer The Office. That was something else. And guess what? It didn't really work. It was still kind of funny. You still had some nostalgia with Jim and Pam and Dwight, but it wasn't great.
It wasn't the same show.
It was never as good as it was in like season 3 and 4, where it was at the peak. We don't need to do this stupid paper thing. I'm out on it. I watched the trailer. I will not be watching a single episode of that.
We will get in this more tomorrow.
San Diego Sports 760. Sammy and I are out. John and Jim are next. Friday show coming up tomorrow. Things are going to get wild. Stay tuned.